Morning. Good morning, Roxanne. Roxanne is always on time first. Morning, Tarina, Jennings. Yes, Roxanne, I see you still have the brooms out. Yes, Lego is out standing, so we still need to hold on to the brooms. Indeed. We will see how that will turn out. Every court also go in favor of the UNC, where they intend to carry this all the way to the Privy Council. According to Anil Roberts, it seems the only way the UNC can get justice is when they go to the Privy Council, where, according to him, a bunch of old white men sitting in a chamber is always better for the UNC. Alan, good morning. Daniela Williams, good morning to you. Pauline Buckmeyer, morning. Donna Walcott, morning. Morning, Val. Macaroni Tony, good morning. Good morning, Carol. Carol Myers, Ruth Fronten. Nal Ramroop, morning. Claire Irish, Deborah Durante, Diane Charles, morning. Jennifer Nathan, good morning to you. Felix Hospitalis, morning. So many things happening, you don't know where to start. Let me see. Jennifer Dorset, Angela Carty, morning. Paula Webb, good morning to you. Annette Hunt, Daniel Knights, good morning, sir. Okay, Carol is telling me that the audio is not clear on Facebook. Is that right? I don't know. Sometimes this Facebook audio frustrates me, but YouTube is always good. I don't know what's going on here. I may have to restart. Is it that you're not hearing loudly, Carol, or is it that it's breaking up? Right, so the folks on YouTube are saying that the audio is good there. Okay. All right, Jennifer is saying that it's breaking up. All right, so let me I'll have to try to restart it. So hold on, folks. Let me start over on Facebook. Not you guys on YouTube. You all are good. So just now, let me see. Click this. I'll just start over here. I don't know what is going on Facebook. Let's try again. Yes, so Roxanne is saying how audio is fine. Yeah, so the folks on YouTube is good. I don't know. Facebook, waste our time. As always. Yeah. How to find a way for everybody to migrate onto YouTube. Right.
I'm being real. I've seen it with my own.
Yeah, so we're just waiting for the folks to come back on Facebook. Hopefully it's a little better now. Folks on Facebook, anybody can let me know if it's better or is the same stress. Can't be the internet because everybody on YouTube seems to be fine. Shari Bartholomew, morning. Shari, are you hearing me okay? Is it breaking up or are you hearing me clearly? Anton Batiste, morning. Neil Francois. Right, so Karen says she's hearing. Shari says yes. Okay. Hopefully that would have sorted out the problem. Let me say good morning to His Excellency, the President of Pleasantville, Nigel O'Connor, and First Lady Mauricia Keegan. Morning, Angie. Good morning, Angie. I didn't see Angie. I didn't hear Angie. Nice. Kathy Ann Let Hereward, good morning to you. Thank you so much, Margaret Thomas. Great. Right. So Shari is saying increase the volume. You see. See. So increase the volume. Hopefully that would have dealt with the problem there. Right. Hopefully. So a couple of things I wanted to play this morning. I don't know how many of it I will get to, but let me play this one. More on the positive side, you know. Since everybody always blaming the government for a lack of opportunities for the youth and the reason for crime is because of the government and all. Let me just play this from a gentleman who has a different perspective with respect to the situation facing young people. So let me just play this quickly.
I'm being real. I've seen it with my own two eyes. That we're breeding a generation of lazy youths now. Understand? Parents will like go back on the grind and take back the grip by. Because there's only lazy youths. I only seen them youths lazy now. Understand? So when they go on when they come out of school and they do nothing, right? We will be criminals. And then all of these them doing what they war, talking what they war. What they doing? What they doing? All that by that'll be like me by let them try and go and move the ship full bottle bullets by break them out of that laziness by. I seen this only bare laziness, some other parents encouraging all the children to be in by. All you don't know what they're doing by, what they work for the children future by. You gotta stop that by.
There, the perspective from a young man, right? He's saying you need to put some blame there on the parents for promoting laziness amongst the children. I've always said that if you want to deal with crime, it starts at home. But we always want to put the blame on everybody else, the government, but never on the parents who wouldn't take the time to be parents instead, and for those who want to be their children friend instead of doing what they're supposed to do. But I came across this and I thought it was interesting. He makes a very good point there.
I'm being real.
Right. There was another one that I wanted to touch on quickly.
I'm being real.
Before we go to just now. So there's a clip I saw with the Barbados Prime Minister, Mia Mottley. I make the point. I have no issue with Mia Mottley, right? Some people think that she's the best thing since sliced bread. That's the best prime minister in the Caribbean. There are those who feel that who want her to be the prime minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Okay, that's your choice. So let me get this here. But we always like to attack. They always like to attack Dr. Rowley, right, and talk about how he's a region bull and he talks down to people as if that's his children. But Mia Mottley had a town hall meeting similar to the conversations that Dr. Rowley has, and a citizen asked a question, and to me it seemed like a straightforward question. The man, it seemed like he was interested in getting the information, and the prime minister would have answered the question. But I just want you all to listen to the tone in which she responds to the guy, right? And I'm reading some of the comments, and it's interesting. This was a post by Barbados today, and apparently some Trinis decided to comment as well on the post, the Barbados Today post. And they say this is the type of prime minister that we need, and we love Mia Mottley, and if Rowley was like this, all right, listen to it.
Extreme agony, Madam Prime Minister. If we have to find almost $3 billion to refresh and renew and restore the water mains, why would the government write off $1 billion in national insurance money?
Because Mr. Lee, who can pay? No, stop. Because I want you to pause and stop, and I thank you for the question.
Now, first of all, the man I got to finish his question, right? But listen to it, and then we will compare and contrast after.
First of all, where was everybody when the insurance wasn't being paid, the national insurance wasn't being paid? Secondly, Where was everybody when we kept saying over and over, Dale, how many times? Week after week after week in the House of Assembly, Santia. Week after week. About the printing of money. With a government that didn't even turn around and come with an early election, but wait 5 years and almost 90 days. And therefore, what we inherited at the end was $1.9 billion in arrears from central government. That had nothing to do with NAS. Now, if we didn't write it off, who in here would have to pay? And across Barbados, is it going to come out of the atmosphere like the atmosphere coming into water? Or are we going to have to find the taxpayers who already were beleaguered and did not have the opportunity to save money for almost the better part of a decade? Now, hindsight is 2020. But let us also deal with the reality that if you didn't restructure the debt, you heard it from us, you heard it from Owen Arthur, you even heard it from David Eswick many a day in the House of Assembly, not true? And what you had to do, because you know that there are people who are asset rich and cash poor.
True.
And if you don't restructure your debt when you're asset rich and cash poor, you effectively can become bankrupt. We had 23 downgrades. Now, since this government has come in, the first thing we set about to do, not alone, with the trade union movement, with the social partnership, the private sector, was to restructure the debt, the domestic debt. Since then, in spite of the fact that we restructured the domestic debt, we turned around immediately. And people who had $250,000 and less, we made sure that they could all cash back out their bonds. We excluded the savings bonds from restructuring. Now, I hear all of this talk from a handful of people coming from a certain section of the society, as if all of a sudden those who in George Street are lily white and hands clean. Why don't you pay back the debt? You mean the debt that wanna lick up? You mean the debt that wanna carry right up to the sky? You mean the debt that even if we paid it back and we put a way of putting it on the backs of Bajans today who are still recovering from a pandemic, that you can only lengthen the lifeline of the NIS scheme by 3 years? That sounds like something that any sensible government would do. Let's get real. The reality is that we did what we had to do to stabilize, first and foremost, the dollar. If this dollar was devalued, we inherited a country with less than 4 weeks foreign exchange. Today we have 37 or 38 weeks of foreign exchange. We inherited 4 weeks of foreign exchange with a debt payment of 100 million due in 2 weeks. And when we had to pay that 100 million, your foreign reserves would have come back down to 2.5 weeks of import cover. And at the beginning of a hurricane season, that did not let us get out of the hurricane season without Tropical Storm Kirk hitting us and creating damage in September 3 months later. Mr. Lee, please, thank you for raising it. But I want us to understand this. The government is the people and taxpayers of this country. And when people say, do not write it off, bring it back, which part of St. Andrew residents, what percentage of the 1.3 billion are you all going to pay in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? Because if we don't understand what we did by using the NIS to be able to support government spending, every month the last government could not balance its books. Every month the last government had to pay more money than it was earning, and hence somebody had to print the money. And it was central bank and it was NIS. And nobody said anything when we were talking about it. Everybody just was content to let it go along. And we came in and mercifully, within 1 week of coming into office, we said to the IMF and we said to the creditors, we cannot do this. We are choosing to default on the debt because what you are getting, first and foremost, let me remind you, and especially with the external debt, and that is why I had a problem with the last governor of the central bank who became the advisor of the same people who were asking us not to restructure their debt. You cannot pay an excess premium for being a bad risk. And when the risk becomes real and the people can't pay the debt, you don't want to take the cut. It doesn't work that way. You have already been compensated month after month after month by us paying 12 and 13% interest rates. instead of 7 or 8% interest rates because you said we were a bad risk. Well, the bad risk come through to be a real bad risk and I can't pay no more. So let us be very clear about this. I know, and I will talk to the country in a few days' time on the NIS. I know it is not easy, but I also know it is what it is. And I didn't ask to inherit a government where the government didn't even pay NIS the contributions for a number of years, and it ran up over $250 million. This government didn't put money in IPSIL. This government didn't put money in Paradise. This government didn't put any in those things that you and others are considering nebulous. And all we have done is to seek to stabilize the system and to do so in circumstances where we say, don't carry people to the end of a precipice and make them fall off and drop down. Do a gentle something so that you don't even feel it.
Right. That there was Mia Mottley, right? Or you know, if that was Trinidad and one of our Prime Minister having his conversations and he had responded with that tone, my goodness. You would not hear the end of it. You see, we tell all here, Rowleys are this and Rowleys are that. But in the comments, you have Trinis. Yeah, we love Mia Mottley and we wish that Mia was the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago and she should be the Prime Minister of the Caribbean. Okay. So it tells you when it is that you see they want to be criticizing Dr. Rowley about how he speaks and so on. Right? When it is that he had the same conversations and he made a comment to the effect that choose your men wisely. He's telling, I think a woman had asked some question about respect to, domestic violence and stuff and all of these different things. So they took Dr. Rowley to task. They took him to task, but you see, Mia Mottley could get away with that. The man asked one question. 6 minutes, she jammed him. He tried to get a word in edgewise, and all she doing so is say, hold up, let me talk my piece, and let me say what it is that I have to say. And the poor man stand up there. Okay. But Chinese saying that is very good and applauding that, right? Nothing wrong with that, Just as I mentioned before, when it is that she gave her speech at the COP26 in Paris a couple of years ago, and she buffed up the world leaders, Biden and all of these different people. Chinese was clapping that. Yeah, man, that is leader. That is a strong leader. Put them in the place and let them know what time it is. But if Keith Rowley had done that, you see, what he's so low and he's so crass, and he's going to buffing up the world leaders. And yeah, different strokes for different folks. So then when you see they're talking this nonsense and want to criticize, they're not genuine. We know only on foolishness and folly. Foolishness and folly. Or they don't like a strong Prime Minister in Trinidad, a firm Prime Minister who talks his mind and says what he has to say. Yeah, but you will support it from another. I feel is the best thing. Best thing it have since sliced bread. And yeah, she could get away with it. But Keith Rowley, no, he's a tyrant and he's a dictator. Same thing, or let's say what Mr. Manning do. Same thing, but Kamala is not a tyrant and she's not a dictator. Country before party, then go to hell. Go to hell, country before party, but that's not dictatorial. Yeah? She's not a tyrant. Right. What is the next clip that I have up? Right. So I see Marsha Walker, who I have dubbed the Potong of the UNC. The Potong in chief. It seems like she lost her work as Potong in chief. Yes. Marsha, who was very vocal for the UNC. More so than everybody else, because as I said, she was auditioning for Mrs. Prasad Bisesa. I don't know if it is she was hoping to get a senatorial position now. Because when you look at some of them, like Jayanti Lakshmidiyal, every opportunity that Jayanti gets to speak in the Senate is always a performance, as if she wants to say, look, leader, see me, look me here. See that I could behave low and crass like a gutter rat, just like Anil and Nakid. Look me here, right? Because I want to make sure that you keep me in the Senate. Because apparently, if you get a senatorial appointment by Kamala and you want to keep it, you need to behave like a gutter rat. Every opportunity that you get, you need to go low. You need to display below the pavement behavior, and then she will say, yes, that is the type of person I want to stay. So I don't know if it is that Marsha, over the last few months and stuff, was trying to audition like Jayanti to see if she too could I get a blind in the Senate, but apparently it didn't work because now, for the last few months, Marsha was working in Diego Martin, presumably because she was supposed to be the UNC's standard bearer in the next general election to once again challenge Dr. Rowley for the position of Member of Parliament for Diego Martin West. Now, I don't know if it is Dr. Rowley intends to contest again, but we will see. So she was working in Diego Martin, and in Robertson St. Joseph, David Naked in Tunapuna, Jolene John in La Hoqueta Talparo was before them, right? So it seemed a foregone conclusion that before them, those are the areas that they would have been contesting. But with Marsha, I couldn't understand why it is she decided to contest a local government seat, because is it then that in 2025 you would have resigned from that post in order to contest the general election, in which case that would have prompted a by-election. But during the election, Marsha was posting some stuff on Facebook that might have been a source of concern for members of the UNC. In fact, when you read the comments under some of her posts, there were persons who felt that she was airing the UNC's dirty linen in public. It was no secret that she had an issue with the UNC embracing Jack Warner. Jack is back. She didn't agree with that, right? In fact, she put out a post that said, well, okay, well, we might as well invite all the community leaders, the gang leaders, to come and join the party, and let's open arms and welcome them. You know, she made the point that Kamala had told Jack to clear your name and come back home. And up to now, Jack has not cleared his name, according to Marsha. And therefore, she was opposed to Mr. Warner being a part of the whole arrangement, right? So you would have noticed that she would have been absent from a lot of their meetings. Despite the fact, so she would have showed up when it is there a presentation of candidates, but otherwise to that, she was not a part of the whole thing. So having lost, she got 799 votes. I think the PNM candidate would have gotten just over 300 votes more than she did. But let me remind you all of one of Marsha's many performances. That's now, let's see if I pull this up here. Yeah, just now, where is it? Let me get it here. You know, when I don't want it, it's always in my face. Right. Listen to one of Marsha's many performances for her political leader, which earned her, by the way, she was the deputy chairman of their social media committee. She has now lost that post. She has resigned as the UNC's Diego Martin regional coordinator. Right. But listen to Marsha, one of her many performances.
Keith Rowley, you're afraid, and you're afraid, Marsha Walker. You send your TTPS to make sure that I had to stay inside Woodford Square. Listen to what's going on. Look at what's going on. But Marsha Walker, of all people, had to stay inside Woodford Square. We go see. We go see. Your day will come, partner. Your day will come. Watch. I inside Woodford Square. I'm following the law. I'm following the law. It's not even the law. You cannot stop me from assembling, partner. You can't stop me. You're a dictator. That's nastiness. You send a TTPS letter to stop Marsha Walker and say Marsha Walker had to stay inside Woodford Square. Look at what's going on. Look at what's going on. Everybody else, if it was a security issue, you would have, just like when we started, just like when we opened Parliament, you issued traffic restrictions, etc., and you stopped citizens from passing certain areas. If today was a special day, you had a right to have traffic restrictions. You had a right to stop regular citizens from passing the Red House, but you did not. But because you hear Marsha Walker going on be here, you send a TTPS letter to make me stay inside of the square. Your day will come, partner. Your day will come. But what you're showing is you're scared. You're scared.
Yeah, wow. You're scared. Scared of what, Marsha? Of what? Look what's going on. Look what's going on. People was outside the parliament. They were in Woodford Square. And now let's say that the PNM was running scared from the election. Why? Because they're afraid they're going to lose. And they played the UNC. Well, they were supposed to put a cocktail on the PNM, beat them to a frazzle according to Munilal, and then beat the frazzle too. Well, I was hoping to be able to see what a frazzle looked like. They're like, I have to wait another 10, 20 years to see what a frazzle looked like. By then, all you're gone. All of this should have been gone already. But in 20 years' time, hopefully Munilal will be gone. Well, certainly Kamala will be gone. She might even be on planet. Well, all I know what I mean now, because I mean something, and she, anyway, let me don't go there. Let me keep it clean. Right? All they should have been gone a long time. Even the next generation that you all are molding to take over the UNC, them need to go to Saddam, Arnold Ram, Rati Ram, all them Ram and them need to go. Ram Logan, Ram Dean, just get rid of all of them. All of them. Because anyway, if that is the best that all could offer Trinidad and Tobago in terms of governance, that's all they're going to keep all your backside in opposition. But then all they're not even fit for opposition either. Right? Not even fit for opposition. But that was Marsha there. That was Marsha a few months ago. As opposed to Marsha today. Right? Let me pull up Marsha here. Poor Marsha. So Marsha lost her seat, and her political leader tried to, Marsha decided to put out a snapshot of a WhatsApp conversation, a group that she's in which Mrs. Prasad Bisesa commented. So on the 15th of August, here's how the conversation went. Kamala says to Marsha, Marsha, you did so well. You gave Rowley a run for his money in his own constituency. Congrats. Stand your ground. Smiley face, 3 thumbs up and 3 yellow hearts. Thank you. Marsha responds, I think there is much work needed all around, but thank you. So clearly, Marsha responds with a tone. And I guess Kamala realized. Kamala responds, but you did so well in a very difficult seat. So take praise and thanks and let us chart the way forward, please. Best regards. Right? Now, here what Marsha put. Marsha says the narrative that Kamala spit me out is so uninformed. If we are to move the country forward, we need to move past propaganda and mobile. I resigned from one position. I did not resign from the party. In fact, I was clear in my resignation from that one post to reassure the leadership that I was committed to building the UNC, as I firmly believe it is the best vehicle to move the country forward. Though the vehicle needs some fine-tuning at the moment. What is the fine-tuning that the vehicle needs, Marsha? What is the fine-tuning that the UNC needs? I could tell you. You need to get rid of Kamala, Munilal, Ratiram, all the Rams, yourself, Julene, Anil, Naked. All you need a complete overhaul. That's not just a tune-up. A tune-up is fine-tuning is not enough, right? All you need a whole new chassis. Everything. A whole body work. Everything. Anyway. I've oftentimes taken issue with persons who all of a sudden find their public voice only after they've been rejected, and I vow to be the change I wanted to see. Hence me making my stance while I hold favor. I therefore made a stance and resigned from the Diego Martin West as the Diego Martin West coordinator, which was done internally and should have remained internal and be dealt with at that level. Unfortunately, this is Marsha speaking here. For whatever reason, the political leader, Kamala Prasad Bisesa, in her wisdom, chose to handle my resignation in a chat with some 40-odd persons. So now the horse has bolted the stable and the PNM social media agents are grabbing at straws. I promised accountability and transparency, and I promised not to be a cult member, but there's a certain level of respect one must have for the organization and handle internal party politics internally. So in other words, she hit Kamala a slap there, right? Abakan. May God help us to find the balance between airing our dirty laundry in public and being accountable to those we pledge to serve. So she admits that the UNC has a lot of dirty laundry. The media has gotten hold of my resignation letter. I gave my comment. Hopefully the matter will end there and we can move forward. Our energy must be spent on removing the PNM while simultaneously ensuring the very best version of the UNC is in place come 2025 when we form government. The country deserves no less from us. So she admits that right now what they're offering is not the best of the UNC. Right? But she wasn't saying this before. Well, who tell Marsha say that? Well, boy, it blows Marsha getting in the comments. People telling Marsha about why you ain't dirty linen in public. PNM propaganda machinery at work. Let me see what else they said here, boy. Let me see. Somebody says, Sister Marsha, the UNC needs more than fine-tuning. It needs a complete overhaul. And this is a UNC supporter. Face the facts. If the UNC is going to win the general election 2025, Kamala needs to go. I will support you if you go up for deputy political leader. Private message me and we can talk. There's a guy by the name of Ricardo Sukwa. Roger Williams says, in other words, they did the same to you as they did to Jack and others. UNC used you, Marsha. Please know your word. You're too intelligent. Vida Punilal says a change is needed. Don't understand why people are not seeing it, but yet still they went and vote for them, right? 173,000 earlier, and if we add Gary, 16,000, 189,000 earlier went and voted for them, despite earlier admitting the fact that overhaul is needed. Mark Sudin says, Marsha, my question is, and with all respect, had you won the Diego Martin West, would you still have resigned? Also, did you voice your opinion openly on social media during the height of the campaign for the local election? Yes, she did. She did. That's why they remove her. So she resigned as one, and Kamala now say, here, well, you see that big post I give you as deputy chairman of social media? Forget it. They take it back from her. So, let me see here. Aman said, we want to see more of you in the Senate. Think it would help you conquer the seat in the general election. Only you have that type of momentum to acquire that seat. Really, Bishra? Come now, man. Come now, man. Let me see. Let me see here, buddy. We need to lead the UNC back. Right. So she gets some licks. But Marsha she liked to push the envelope. So she posted up a picture of herself 2 days ago. She went out to Lime and she had on this big red outfit. Yeah? And she says, laughing at how my outfit last night causing such a stir. Newsflash, red is not owned by the PNM. You guys need to get a life outside of politics. And she talking to PNM people. She's talking to the UNC people. But what I wanted to read here is this article. UNC's Marsha Walker resigns over women's rights issues. UNC Glencoe Goodwood Laperta candidate in 2023, and this is a Guardian article, local government elections, Marsha Walker has resigned as the party's Diego Martin West coordinator following her disagreement with the selection of another UNC official. She said her stance was in support of women's rights. Walker has now reportedly been removed as the vice chairman of the UNC's Public Relations Committee, but said she's committed to working to ensure that the party is the best version of itself. As UNC's Glencoe Goodwood Laperta candidate, Walker obtained 799 votes but lost to the PNM's Amber Keynes. Walker also unsuccessfully contested the Diego Martin West constituency for the party in 2020. We also saw that video with her and Gary when they had the big falling out down in Caranage, right? But today, she and Gary was best of friends, Gary walking with her, all kind of thing. Social media was recently flooded with words of Walker's resignation. Her August 16th letter to UNC Chairman Dave Tanku and General Secretary Peter Kanhai alluded to an issue concerning a UNC Diego Martin official. Walker stated that she received an email from the party seeking her opinion on a possible alderman for the Diego Martin Borough Council. She noted the name of a certain constituency official was given as an option. But Walker's letter alleged that she raised the issue of the person's spouse having a restraining order against them. This is Marsha. Let me remind this party, and this is what she put in her resignation letter, who have the best lawyers, that a restraining order is not granted on gossip and baseless accusations, Walker stated in the letter. In it, she also pointed out that she raised the issue before, during the UNC's internal election in 2022. Now, Walker said she had no other option but to resign. Her letter also spoke about her disappointment in the UNC's deputy political leader, a woman who was the first person who she raised the matter with. That's Jolene John. She also expressed disappointment in our female political leader, who should be the first person to fight for the respectful treatment of women, the letter said. Walker's letter added, this isn't the version of the UNC I chose to serve. However, I continue to fight for the people of TNT and do firmly believe that the UNC is the best vehicle to do so. I trust immediate changes will take place to demonstrate that we genuinely have women's rights at heart. When contacted for comment on her resignation, she declined beyond what she had already said in the public. But Walker added, the entire situation is unfortunate. Finding a balance between being accountable to the public and airing our dirty laundry in public is probably the task I find hardest in the political gael. No organization is perfect. I am committed to working to ensure that the UNC is the best version of itself. The people of TNT deserve no less. Efforts to get a response from the UNC Deputy Political Leader Jolene John, Chairman Dave Tanku, PRO Dr. Kirk Mehu, and Political Leader Kamala Prasad-Visesa were all unsuccessful. Right? So it seems it has some bacchanal and trouble brewing in the House of the Rising Sun. So they call Marsha and say, well, Marsha, here what now? You consider putting so and so as an alderman in Diego Martin. What do you think? And Marsha said, well, now, well, you remember it have a restraining, the man wife have a restraining order against him. And they don't get restraining order just so unless, of course, the woman would have been able to demonstrate, well, maybe the man probably beating her or whatever it is. They say, well, all right. Marsha has left the chat. or Marsha was removed from the chat because of the position that she took. Now I'm trying to understand how many aldermen did they get in Diego Martin? Because yesterday I saw Gary Griffith put out a statement stating that they put Paul Nahus as the alderman in Diego Martin. The UNC, as far as I recall, only contested, I think that the only seat the UNC contested in Diego Martin was under Marsha. The rest was NTA. So I don't understand why the UNC consulting on who they should put as the alderman if the alderman belongs to the NTA. I don't think they got enough votes to get more than one alderman, as far as I'm aware. And look who they put. A former PNM man. Paul Nahus served as a PNM alderman in Diego Martin from 2016 to 2019. The NTA couldn't find nobody else to put except a former PNM alderman from Diego Martin. What does that tell you? They recognize the caliber of people that the PNM recruits. All the time, them is the same people who saying, look, the PNM taking all the UNC rejects. But Paul Nahus was in PNM just the other day. He served in that very same position, 2016 to 2019. So, and now he's NTA. So who taken, who rejects? And only put him. Very good. Very good. So the other folks, the PNM folks on that council, all they just need to go and have a word with Paul and let him know, Paul, what is you doing? What are you doing? You feel like making any sense? Listen now, come back home. Come back. Okay, you're strayed, you realize you're strayed, you make a mistake, come back home. That's why they put you up here, because they know, all right, we could whisper in your eyes and we could talk to you. So, Paul, you know what to do. All right? Forget them. Gary's a waste of time. So don't even bother. Just tell him thanks for the opportunity. You're back. Okay? I don't even know why you would have left in the first place, but anyway. Yeah. So poor Marsha now, still taking licks all over the place. I see she's congratulating Paul Nahus on his appointment as alderman to the Diego Martin Corporation, and she says she knows he will serve well. Well, of course, he would have served under the behest of the PNM before, and he did well. So what's the issue? It's understandable. They couldn't put nobody else. So, Marsha, let me see. Yeah, so poor Marsha. So she's out for having a little bit of integrity, because that is not really prevalent in the UNC, right? So she decided to stand up for what she thought was the right thing, airing the dirty linen in public in the hope that it would, be addressed. And again, Kamala reminded her, country before party, go to hell. Go to hell. Kamala has removed Marsha from the chat. So it seems in that party, you can't stand up for integrity. No, you can't do that, because when you do that, you declare an imakaram and they kick you out. But yet still, they get all of them votes, right? The very same supporters who continue to support that. But the PNM is a cult, and Rowley is a dictator, and you can't stand up to Rowley in the PNM. But in the UNC, Marsha tried a thing, and Marsha learned the hard way. No, we don't do that here. That is not acceptable here, Marsha. Either you fall in line, understand that it's party before country and not country before party, or hit the road. And Marsha has hit the road. But Marsha, unfortunately, we don't want you, right? We don't want you. Sorry to say. Now, if you want to become an ordinary member of the PNM, you could go down Balize House and try and get an application form and fill it out. And maybe they might consider it, because you could be an ordinary member, but that's about it. They really don't want you, right? You're really bringing no stocks to the PNM, right? So don't expect for us to hold no harm. Anyway, let me leave that there. But you should have talked all the time, Marsha. What are your thoughts on Adrian Ali, Marsha? Adrian Ali, who is accused of pulling a legal firearm on a woman and threatening her, Marsha. Did you raise that with the executive of your party, Marsha? What did they tell you? Because they didn't tell nobody else nothing, eh? They ain't talking to nobody else. They're only talking within inside. So Adrian was sworn in. So apparently the political leader, the deputy political leader, none of them have anything to say, and they have no problem with Adrian being where he is. Now you say you took a stance based on women issues, and Adrian pulled a gun on a woman, Marsha. Tell us something about that now. What is the party's thoughts on that? The leadership thoughts on Adrian, Marsha? Because we can't get it from nobody else. But since you were a part of the inner circle, no longer, because you get booted out, because you showed that you had a modicum of integrity. I don't know if that was just a show for the people down on that side. It didn't help you, but still, once you use the same thing with Basad Bharat, once you show that you even have an inch, Devant Maharaja, one smidgen of integrity, that's it for you. You get pelted out. But they want to tell you that is the best option for 2025, where they're willing to turn a blind eye to wrongdoing and expect everybody else to support that. So I move on to Mr. Munilal, right? Mr. Munilal, I ain't calling you no Dr. Munilal, because since all your doctorate on that question, right? Unless you could come and show us that your paper is good, is Mr. Munilal. I know my prime minister, his credentials good, right? He have a double doctorate. You have one. See, Rambachan got his one from some fly-by-night university that now defunct. Sheikh Mohammed get his one from some fly-by-night university that now defunct. Well, they're not defunct, but you could get it in 9 months, so forget that. You ain't getting no doctor from me henceforth. Until you present your credentials as Mr. Munilal. And if you catch me on a good day, it's Munilal. So let me pull him up here, right? Let me get him here. Where is he? Oh, Rudal, where are they? Let me get you. So he only prosecuting this case now. He is the chief prosecutor for Stuart Young. And this issue with Mr. Young donating a firearm or giving a firearm to the TTPS. Let me just play this. So if you look on Rudal Munilal's page for the last 6 days, all he posted is things related to Stuart Young and this firearm. There's nothing else for him to talk about. Apparently, he forget that he got a memo with respect to, or an email with respect to Adrian Ali. But I commented that just now, right? And it seems now, in his pursuit of Stuart Young, he is now ably assisted by the Express newspaper. I'm not surprised. Not surprised in the least. But let me just play a little bit of him, as sickening as it is, and I know it as stomach tuning as it is to listen to he. Give me one moment, right?
But a very warm.
Right, we ain't going that far because I don't want to listen to that much of it. But anyway.
Is that a point we have been making a few days ago? The Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa spoke at a meeting earlier in the week and alluded to a very dangerous development. Today we can confirm on this platform that a government minister who was in possession of an illegal firearm, an illegal weapon, sought to return the weapon to the police, to the armory at the barracks in St. James. A government minister, a civilian in possession of an automatic weapon, which is illegal, went to the police to return it. Today, from this platform in San Fernando, we ask the police, the TTPS, to give us a report. Give us a report on which government minister surrendered, donated, sent his firearm to the armory in St. James at the barracks. Because no civilian can go to the police and give up illegal weapon. We have no amnesty in place. Brothers and sisters, if a civilian in possession of an illegal weapon goes to the police, he must be charged, he must be prosecuted, he must be convicted. Today, which government minister in possession of firearm has done this? And the police or the country a duty, if the police or the country a duty to tell us with clarity which government minister and or his agents have surrendered a weapon to the police, and under what circumstances, and would action be taken against that government minister? Because as far as I am concerned, that minister should be held in handcuffs. And brothers and sisters, if the key not working for the handcuff, you could take a small pin and lodge it together and hold the handcuff. Maybe the key not working, use a small pin and tie it. Which government minister had in his possession an illegal firearm? Rowley talking about firearm and illegal weapons and legal weapons. Brothers and sisters, his own cabinet ministers have been in possession of illegal firearms. Today they go behind closed doors and try to return it. But on this platform, the UNC will expose them, will unravel, will reveal. And I leave that there.
You know,
Brothers and sisters,
I am wary of claims by Rudal Munilal whenever he says that the UNC is going to unravel and reveal anything. Right? This is the same man who year after year, the last term, came to Parliament every time for the budget debate. He come to reveal and unravel, right? Come to reveal and unravel with a set of lies. Nothing that he ever presented in all of the years 17, 18, 19. When he said he went to Miami and he did his investigation, playing in Inspector Clouseau, and went and get information about A.V. Gillen and Dr. Rowley have some bank account in Miami, some joint account with Mr. Bash, and some 500,000 US was wire transferred and all of that. The same Gary Griffith was commissioner of the police at the time. So they investigated that matter and there is no substance to it. In fact, he went further to say that when his officers went to the US to speak to US authorities and so on with a view to pursue in this matter, they were laughed at. That the US police always serious, a man come in Parliament and make an accusation like that and only come all the way here to investigate. Look, all you go from here. What kind of banana republic are you really from, right? This is Gary. Gary called a press conference to say that it had no substance in that whatsoever. And then Munilal said, well, here what I never have on a bank account. I asked about a 500,000 wire transfer. So my information, this is Munilal. So contrary to what the Commissioner of Police say, my information is that aspect of the investigation is still ongoing. Really? Gary called our next press conference to say, well, I don't know where Munilal get that from. I don't know who advising he, but I tell you all, this investigation in its entirety is closed. It is rubbish. There is no merit to it. And I don't know what parallel investigation Munilal talking about. I don't know if he have his own police service, but the police service that I, Gary Griffith, lead, telling you, it have no further investigation into any of the allegations that Rudal Munilal made against Keith Rowley. After that, finger on lip, mouth of a zip, you ain't hear Munilal say nothing about that. But coming to talk now about reveal. So I see Stuart Young on Friday, I think it was at the swearing-in ceremony for the, I think it was the Port of Spain Corporation, would have been approached by a journalist from CNC3. Now, for those of us who would have seen the video, and I'm sure most people would have seen it, the clip, Mr. Young would have greeted the man in a very cordial manner when he said, hey, how you going, and whatnot and stuff. The individual then proceeds to say, I have one question for you. And quite in a rather jovial manner, Mr. Young says, what is the question? And then this guy decided he wanted to ask a question about the gun and return, and Mr. Young stoops and walk off. Right? Well, now that is the story for the week. Mr. Young stoops at the reporter, so that is a big thing. You see, as Munilal calls it, it is low, it is crass and repugnant that Mr. Young owes the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago an explanation with respect to this whole issue surrounding this firearm that was there. Now you see why I can't call him no doctor? Because he said Mr. Young returned the firearm to the police. Mr. Munilal, you know what return means? You know what return means? And that's why I keep saying, there needs to be a massive drive to purchase some dictionaries for members of the UNC, particularly the leadership. Because return implies that it came from. I took it back where it came from. So is it that Mr. Young would have gotten this firearm from the police and then he returned it to the police? That's what return means, Mr. Munilal. But he returned it, really? And then it's an illegal. Did you see the firearm? Where you get your information from? The insiders that you all have in the police service? Now, as I said, Mr. Munilal and his claims, unfortunately, are ably supported by the Express newspaper. The Express decided to do an editorial 4 days ago, which Mr. Munilal was only too happy and pleased to publish on his Facebook page. And it reads, Minister Young's disclosure that he did donate a legal weapon, right? A legal weapon, but he telling you that on the 13th or the 12th of this month, that it was an illegal firearm. that, right, to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service has raised a political hornet's nest that will only be calmed by clear and full explanations from the Minister and the Police Service. Responding to an allegation by opposition MP Dr. Rudal Munilal that a young government minister had surrendered a gun to the TTPS armory in St. James, Minister Young confirmed he had indeed given a gun to the TTPS, but as a donation. He went on to say he had at all times abided by the laws of Trinidad and Tobago, adding, "My action was of my own volition and I stand by it." It's the Express editorial, right? It is unclear what the minister means by saying he stands by his action and why it was even necessary to say that. Perhaps it was just the bravado of political gun talk. More relevant to this transaction between the minister and the TTPS would be a clear and full explanation of how an individual goes about donating a weapon to the TTPS, assuming this is even allowed, and the process by which it is accepted by the police, again assuming it is. Now, I always say we don't have journalists in this country. What we have is a bunch of bacchanalists posing as journalists. Because if they were really interested in the answers to the question that they just asked there, they would have sought explanation from the police. They would have gone to the police, if you can't get onto the commissioner of police, speak to a senior police officer. Because they were able to speak to a senior police officer with respect to Adrian Ali's matter, right? And the senior police officer said he will look into the matter to determine why it is that, notwithstanding the fact that reports were made to the Chaguanas police station, no action was taken with respect to Mr. Ali, who is now the subject of a police probe. So we know the newspaper has access to the police. So if you can't get to the commissioner, I am sure there are other senior officers who could tell you what is the process. But they want to ask here, is it even allowed for a citizen to donate a weapon to the thief? Now I want to ask a question. Now when a person gets a firearm user's license, right? Now I have laid sight on the application form. And on the application form, there is a space for you to put the type of gun that you are applying for. And I think you would have to go to a firearms dealer for assistance to fill out this information and whatnot. You have to be specific. You can't just say, I want a firearm user's license, and then that is it. And you just go and buy a gun of choice. So you have to indicate what is the weapon. There's space for that. The type of weapon and whatnot, and caliber and all of that on the application form. I think you have to do it in triplicate or something. So that information would have been indicated before Mr. Young would have gotten the firearm user's license, which, based on reports, he would have gotten from Gary Griffith, right? Well, Gary Griffith was Commissioner of Police. So Mr. Griffith would have had to sign off on this file, so he would have seen on the document the type of firearm that Mr. Young wanted to get. Now, my question is this. So it means if you have to dispose of a firearm, it's not like you could go on Marketplace on Facebook and say firearm for sale, $7,000, $10,000, serious inquiries only, and wait for people to call and say, well, okay, yeah, I saw you put up the advertisement, I want to buy the gun, right? Or you don't put an ad in the newspapers, gun for sale. It don't work so. But what is the process by which this person would dispose of this firearm? Now, suppose you have a citizen who is the holder of a firearm user's license, and they get an opportunity to migrate. So they're going abroad, they're going to the US, to Canada, wherever it is. They can't carry the gun with them because the firearm user's license is specific to Trinidad. So you can't say, well, I throw in my gun in my suitcase and I'm going with it wherever it is I'm going. No, because as soon as you land at the airport in the US, you're likely to be in handcuffs because you have a weapon for which you do not have authorization to use in that jurisdiction. So you have to dispose of the firearm before you leave the country. What is the procedure process for that, right? I can't take the gun with me. The firearm user's license is specific to Trinidad and Tobago. So I would assume that the process is you have to go into the police station or whatever it is and turn in the firearm along with the firearm user's license. When the police takes this firearm now, what happens straight after that? Do they destroy it? Perfectly good firearm. Person spend a good piece of money on it, probably never used. They never had an opportunity to use it, even except for when they would have gone to the range to practice. But otherwise to that, it didn't use a perfectly good gun. What do they do? Do they destroy it? You see, these are the questions that if the media was genuine in their concerns, would have gone to ask the police. You should be able to ask any police officer, and they should be able to tell you what is the procedure. Because if I want to know, I would assume I could just walk in a police station and say, well, sir, hey, I'm a firearm user's license holder. I have a firearm, or I have two firearms. I am migrating. I'm leaving Trinidad and Tobago, and I have no intention of coming back, at least for the foreseeable future. So I know I have to turn in my firearm. Yeah, because I can't transfer it to somebody else because the firearm user's license is specific to me. So for anybody else to be in possession of this firearm, they must have an FUL with the specific to this firearm, giving them authorization to use it. Okay? So the only thing is, in the same way, when an FUL holder dies, the family of this individual is expected to turn in the firearm to the police. They don't get to keep it and say, well, here's a souvenir, my father had a gun, and we're holding on to the gun. No, it has to be turned into the police because only your father had authorization from the TTPS, from the commissioner, to use and be in possession of this firearm. So it has to be turned in. Okay? What happens to those firearms when they do that? Is it that they're taken and destroyed? I don't know. Again, if the media was genuinely concerned and wanted answers, instead of being the bacchanalists that they are, to write an editorial, right, that is full of conjecture, old talk, bacchanal, rather than putting information there, because all they want people to spend $4 and $5 to buy a newspaper. But this is the kind of editorial I continue. Express is asking, did Minister Young just walk into the St. James Armory and say, I've come to donate this gun to the TTPS? Or did he send it with an emissary along with a note, or after phoning in his offer? Yeah, it's no surprise that the Express is using similar language to what Rudal Munilal would have used previously, almost word for word. Did the donation include ammunition? Well, obviously. Was the transaction subjected to a process by which the used weapons are traced and investigated for establishing origin, history of ownership, previous use, and searched against various ballistic reports? Is the option to donate guns to the police open to every individual with a legal weapon, or to select individuals based on established criteria? So again, refueling bacchanal and couture. Okay? As head of the other party to this transaction, the Commissioner, Ulla Harewood Christopher, should be eager to provide the public with a full statement on the matter. However, she has so far not stepped forward either to corroborate Minister Young's statement or to answer the many questions swirling around the issue. We take it for granted that the St. James Armory operates on the basis of strict rules for ensuring the integrity of every weapon taken into its possession. And a used gun is not a hamper that can be donated at will by individuals with an extra gun to spare or eager to help out the police service with its resource shortages. Its inclusion in the TTPS weapons inventory cannot be a casual decision, but the subject of a rigorous process designed to eliminate, among other things, the risk of weapon laundering. And as a former Minister of National Security, Stuart Young should be fully au courant with the process and open to any opportunity to share his knowledge with the general public, assuming he has nothing to hide. The fact that the information about the weapon he donated to the TTPS was made public by the opposition is no reason for defensive defiance. Nor is the fact that the issue involves a government minister reason for silence or self-censorship by the TTPS. So as a former Minister of National Security, he should be fully au courant with the process. Yeah, well, as a journalist, you should be fully au courant with the process too. Clearly, which you're not, and you're not interested in finding out the process. Because since you all did this editorial days ago, you have not come back with anything to update the population as to what the process is. And I would think any police officer should know the process. So, miss us with the BS now, that you ain't hear nothing from the commissioner of police. You have deputy commissioners, I think 3 deputy commissioners, and you have senior superintendents, you have sergeants, and all of these people should be familiar with the process. I'm sure if all you can get onto the hierarchy of the police service, find out from somebody in the armory what is the process. And even if you all want to insinuate that there is a process to follow to determine whether the gun was used in any crime, then if the police doing that investigation, it is an active investigation. How the hell you expect them to come out and speak on that matter? Like Gary Griffith and his wife writing to the commissioner to ask, are we under investigation? We got information that the SIA was tapping our phone. You could tell us if that is true. Did you tap our phone? Is there a reason why it is we are being investigated? Could you provide us with the details of this investigation, please? And the police are supposed to respond and said, yes, Gary, your phone was tapped and your wife's phone was tapped. Yes, we are investigating you, Gary. Yes. And put out a public notice. If there is any citizen who has reason or cause to believe that they are the subject of a police investigation, please forward a request to the commissioner and we will provide you with full details of the investigation, everything that we have unearthed so far, and we will keep you abreast as the investigation progresses. Apparently, that is how it's supposed to work. A former commissioner of police writing to the TTPS to ask if they tap his wife's phone. And if so, for what reason? Imagine you have a lawyer, a man who always on TV, always have an opinion on everything. And the opinion always anti-PNM, right? Always have an opinion on everything. You are a big attorney. And you actually entertain her going to court to ask the court to compel the police service to tell Mrs. Griffith whether or not she was the subject of a wiretap. The judge damn right to tell them, bring you evidence. We don't operate on hearsay here, so somebody come and tell you, hey, Gary, you know, they tap in the cold phone. And you expect the court to compel the police? As a former commissioner of police, that is how you operated? So is it that you used to be sharing information at will? So certain people used to just be writing to you and asking, am I the subject of an investigation? You could tell me what all you have on me so far, so I know how to move. And you say, "Shock, yeah, just answer this there. Let him know what it is now." Again, I had to wonder how this man was a former. Anyway, let me leave that there, right? As I say, his mouth got him the job and his mouth cost him the job too. But the hypocrisy of Rudal Munilal, because I listened to a clip. I'm trying to find it. I don't know where it is. Somebody had sent it. I don't know if it was in the PNM Warriors chat or whatever who put it in. But I can't seem to find it now. A clip where Munilal was interviewed by the police. Not the police, sorry, the media, with respect to Stuart Young's stoops. That is a big thing for them now. Stuart Young disrespectful. And he is saying that Mr. Young owes the population an explanation with respect to this donation of a firearm. And that he is calling on Mr. Young to come clean on the matter. Otherwise, he has additional information on the matter which he will make public. Well, Mr. Munilal, we're still waiting on you from since 2017. When you call a press conference to say with respect to the AV drilling matter that you had information and the UNC had information to bring down 4 governments. 4 governments. Now, last I checked, Trinidad and Tobago only had 1, unless you want to check the new Tobago government that is led by Prime Minister Fali Augustine. But in the grand scheme of things, Trinidad have 1 government. So the other 3 governments he's talking about had to be for other countries. He said that UNC is in possession of information that could bring down 4 governments. This is 2017. We're in 2023. 6 years ago. You couldn't even bring down 1 government in 2020. We just concluded a local government election, and from all indications, all you're going to get your backside cut there too, right? Because all you're running from a real by-election in Lengua Indian work. But in a UNC stronghold, and you all were supposed to beat the PNM to a frazzle. It was supposed to be a bloodbath. For months, all they're telling us the PNM running from election because they're frightened, because they know they're unpopular. After 3 years of Monday night forum meetings, after 3 years of wasted time Sunday morning press conferences, after almost 3 years of you all having your Wednesday pavement conversation or whatever it is, after all of these articles that people putting out on your behalf, all of these different things, the occasional other press conference you all used to call, how much court cases all they went and pull out, complaining about people suffering, eating grass and all of that. All of them things, all of that, and all fighting for 1 seat in a UNC stronghold for 1 vote, when you should have cut the PNM backside by 5 and 6 and 700 votes in a UNC stronghold, that you all trying to hold on by a bare thread of 1 vote. Always shame. And then talking about the UNC's on ascendancy. You all rising. That sun setting long time. You all need to change change that symbol, turn it upside down. Rising sun? No. It's not rising there, my friend. Remove all them rays. Remove them rays. Yeah? That ain't rising at all. The only thing rising, anyway. Right? I wouldn't go there. I will try to keep it life friendly. But this is the foolishness and this hypocrite. Pursuing Stuart Young, you pursuing Stuart Young because he donated a firearm. He turned in, not return, right? Perhaps you should go and ask Natasha what return mean. You know, like the Range Rover that you had to return, that is what return mean. The Range Rover that we, the taxpayers of this country, was paying $27,000 a month for you and Natasha to joyride and like all yourself with flashing blue lights, right? That is what return mean. Now, when the information came out, the HEC had no choice but to pull it back and end the arrangement. Okay, but you vex and you have an issue with Stuart Young turning in a firearm. You don't know what is the man's reasons why he turned it in. Maybe he decided he no longer wants to hold a firearm. Maybe he has more than one and he decided, well, you know what? It don't make sense me having multiple firearms because I could only use one at a time. And it's a headache for me to remember when is the renewal date for all of these firearm users licenses, because it's not when you get a firearm user's license, it is not for perpetuity, right? There is a period of time for which it is valid, and then you have to go and renew that permit. So you probably say, well, look here, I don't know why I'm doing all of this. I have a personal security detail and all of that. So instead of having all these firearms, let me turn in one. You don't know the reason, but you're coming to make a set of kuchura and bacchanal. But in your own camp, you have a man who is accused of pulling a firearm on at least 3 people, right? Threatening them using a legal firearm. And you have nothing to say on that. It is reported in the newspaper that an email was sent to you, to Kamla Prasad Bisesa, to the chairman of the UNC. All of you all got an email detailing what it is Mr. Ali is alleged to have done. All of the threats that he issued, all of this. You, it is alleged, have been in possession of this information since August last year. A whole year, you have been in possession of this information. But you ain't calling for the TTPS to conduct an investigation into that. But you're calling for an investigation into Stuart Young turning in a firearm. He didn't use it to threaten nobody, right? He didn't use it as a weapon of menace. He turned in a firearm to the TTPS, so it's no longer in his possession. The TTPS is fully aware of the process. If they had an issue with it, and then it begs the question of what the TTPS needs to be investigating. Instead of calling for them to talk on Stuart Young, they need to conduct an investigation into all the moles that the TTPS has, the UNC moles in the TTPS. That is what they should be investigating. So we could find out how it is that when you have memos, confidential memos for special branch coming into the possession of the UNC, how that happened. When the leader of the opposition could come on a platform and say that senior police officers have advised her that there is a mongoose gang in the TTPS that is supportive of the PNM, right? And that they are engaging in activities to try and cover up the investigation with respect to certain material with respect to the investigation into AudioGate involving Fali and so on, right? She's saying senior police officers report to her, you need to call on the TTPS and Ulla Christopher to investigate that. And why officers are reporting to Kamla Prasad Bisesa. She's not the prime minister. She is not the head of the national security. So I don't understand what reason they have for reporting to her. But all they have an issue talking about, oh, Rowley getting information. But anyway, I digress. Whole year now you have information about Adrian. Up to now, not a word on that. Right? You have the Doglaya only talking about Rowley buy property and Rowley buy property in Tobago, but none only talking about Mr. Ali, right? Any of you all decided to go to the swearing-in ceremony to see Mr. Ali take the oath? The oath that he took, you all went to see that? No. But you wouldn't call on the TTPS to investigate that. You wouldn't give a comment on that, but your mouth running. You make it running commentary on Stuart Young. I know you have information, additional information, and if Stuart Young will bring it out, you will bring it out. Well, share with us the additional information that you have gotten in that email from the alleged victim of Mr. Ali. That is what you should pursue. But you're not interested in that. No. But want to tell us, we should, support the UNC. And you're wondering why it is you're still looking for the frazzle? The frazzle that you were supposed to beat the PNM to? You wonder why you're still looking for that? And why that frazzle is not likely to be seen anytime soon? Forget 2025. Forget that. But you're on an ascendancy, right? But only jamming Stuart Young every minute that you get. Why you don't tell us in 2014, you were a member, Munilal, were a member of the National Security Council. At a time when 40 high-powered guns went missing from the Forensic Science Center on Barbados Road in Federation Park. Not 1, not 2, not 10, not 20, 40 high-powered guns went missing from the Forensic Science Center, which is a controlled environment. There's only certain people, you need a pass, you need an ID to get inside there, right? When you reach inside there, you walk in, have a whole long counter. The only persons allowed on the other side of the counter is employees and persons who are so authorized to be behind it. The only time you get behind that counter is when they have to carry you upstairs to identify a body or to witness the autopsy as the case. Well, not to witness, but to identify the body prior to the autopsy being undertaken. Otherwise, so that you ain't getting inside there. So far less for a room in which you had 40 high-powered guns that were seized throughout various police exercises, for which persons would have been arrested and charged. And all of those cases now are at risk of falling through. Well, they probably fall through already, because if you don't have the exhibits, you don't have the weapon, then you have no case. This is 2014. Munilal was sitting on the National Security Council along with Kamla Prasad-Bissessa. Probably should ask him how much time he chaired the National Security Council when the meeting was held, when she was on her 5-day weekend. Should ask her that. But we never hear you talk on that. Did you call for a report? Because you want report from the police, and you want a report on Stuart Young. We want a report on those 40 guns. Where it went? It should have been very easy to isolate who took the guns, because it should be only certain people allowed in that room where the 40 guns were held. You ever give me a report on that, Munila? You have any information on that? Since you could get information about everything else, but you couldn't get information on that to share with the population. Never mind the fact that it was 9 years ago. Help us out now. You ever call for a report on that? When Gary was Commissioner of Police, you asked Gary for that? Did you ask Gary for a report on that? You didn't call for no report on that, but you're calling for a report on Stuart Young. And Stuart Young handing a gun. Because you're so desperate, holding on to any little thing that you could get. No bacchanal and couture for the last 3 years, for 8 years. No big scandal like we were getting every other day, every other week between 2010 to 2015. Bacchanal and couture, every time a minister fired for this, fired for that. Well, you find that ain't happening under this administration. Because Rowley runs a tight ship. And he makes sure he let his ministers know, anytime when you get caught in wrong, stand up, you're on your own. Don't look for no support from me. Don't look for no defense from me. You do your thing, face the police. But that didn't happen earlier. It's only when information come out now and you have no other choice, you play a comment to fire people. And imagine supporters of the UNC boasting, Kamla used to fire the ministers whenever they went afoul of the law. Are you proud to say that? Are you really proud to say that? What does that say about Mrs. Prasad-Bissessa's judgment in selecting people to run this country? What does that tell you? That you had to fire probably about 20 ministers. That is an indictment on her poor judgment. And then we're supposed to put these people back in 2025 for what? For her to give us another group of what? The worst of the worst? So we could be entertained every month or every 2 weeks. Another minister get caught up in all kind of wrongdoing? Really? Will you have anybody a substance? Now I see Philip Alexander saying, well, he willing to join with anybody for the sake of good governance. The same man who was saying before the PNM and the UNC are no good, but now you're willing to join. So it seems that they may have an option in 2025 because right now they're looking for options. So don't be surprised if you see another coalition involving PEP. Don't mind Philip and Gary going at it, back and forth. Yeah? He's the worst of friends now. The worst to say about each other. But 2025, they say politics makes strange bedfellows. So don't be surprised if you see the PEP join this coalition. Let bygones be bygones. Yesterday was yesterday and today is today. 2023 was 2023 and 2025 is 2025. So whatever it takes to get rid of the PNM, this wicked and corrupt and evil PNM, that's no damn good for the country, right? But they can't talk about nothing of substance. And the clip I played earlier with Mia Mottley, you see how she started out? She said that the former administration that was there for 5 months and almost 90 days, that sound familiar? That sound familiar? The People's Partnership was in office for 5 months. For 5 years, 3 months and 14 days. Yeah? They take the 5 years and then they use up the 90 days too. Same thing. You heard what she said? What her administration would have inherited from the previous administration, all of the struggles, all of the debts that they inherited. You hear anybody telling me, but you're only looking to blame the opposition, and you're only blaming the opposition. It's all you in charge now. It's all you in government. Stop blaming the opposition. All of them who went under the clip and commenting, all them trainees who praising Mia, yeah? Same Mia, praising her for telling you all the situation that she inherited when she came in office as Prime Minister and what she had to do to stabilize the economy based on what the previous administration did. All of the wrong things that they did, the mismanagement that they engaged in. Her government, as you heard, she said she didn't ask to inherit that, but she inherited it. It came with the position of Prime Minister. And therefore, she's letting the population know we are where we are today. That big debt of having to write off $1 point something billion and monies owed to NIS and all these different things. We had no choice because this is what we inherited from the last administration. They didn't deal with it. They decided to kick the can down the road. And then when we came into office, it fell to us to fix it. Nobody in telling in the comments, stop blaming the opposition. You're in office now for 5 years. Stop blaming. Nobody is saying that. No, the same Chinese who here cussing Rowley for doing the same thing. When it is he tried to point out to the population, we are where we are today because of what they did between 2010 to 2015. All I want to hear that is only blame Kamala, blame Kamala, blame Kamala, and blame the UNC, and blame the UNC, and blame the UNC. And you're only talking about UNC and Kamala. And them in government 8 years now. But all they love Mia. Mia is the best thing since sliced bread. How come Molina chastising Mia for blaming the opposition for the situation that she finds herself in and her government had to fix? Right? All they blaming her. All they supporting that. Yes, Mia, tell them, let them know. But Rowley mustn't do that. Rowley mustn't tell you all what he meant. You heard what she said? When they came in, they had about 4 weeks foreign reserves, 4 weeks of import cover. Similar to Imbut telling us, the central bank governor told them you have 3 days money left to run the country. You heard what she said there? His former central bank governor under the previous administration is now advising them, is now their advisor. Same thing with the UNC, Jawala Rambaran, advising the UNC. Anytime they need any information with respect to certain economic matters, they have to get a commentary from him. Notice the similarities? Notice the similarities between Barbados and Trinidad, between Mia Mottley and Keith Rowley. But Mia Mottley got a free pass. She's allowed to criticize the former administration. She is allowed to speak and tell the population what was done in the last term and the last administration that has contributed to where her country is today. But Rowley mustn't do that. Stop talking about Kamala. Don't talk about the UNC. Forget the people partnership. Don't talk what happened between 2010 to 2015. Only focus on the last 8 years. Talk about that only. Yeah? Forget Kamala. Bunch of blasted hypocrites. Hypocrites. But you all always want to pontificate and talk about Rowley this and Rowley that and the PNM this and PNM that. Well, they can't hold a candle to the People's National Movement. I always say the PNM is not a political party, it's an institution. There is a reason why they're still around today. While all other comers, most of them are in the political cemetery and they're making space, digging grave in the political cemetery for more. For more. Because you don't understand. You don't understand. Once a PNM, always. All of them who leave in and all kind of thing. It's only a matter of time before they come back. And I'm seeing Deborah saying in all fairness, Mia barely has an opposition. Correct. Because they would have swept the polls. Swept the polls. Right? No, I hear. But at the end of the day, when it is that you have an administration and mess up things, when a new government comes in order for you to govern effectively, not because you come into power now means that all the messes that were created by the last administration goes with them now. Remember, you have to treat with that. You have to treat with all of the issues. So that's why I always keep bringing up this issue of the exchequer account. From 10 billion in 2009 to 33 billion in 2015. That has had an impact. That is money that this administration could have used to do things to benefit the country, to keep the debt service ratio down. So they had to come in now and grapple with the interest that has to be paid on all of that debt that UNC run up that we knew nothing about between 2010 to 2015. And if it had not been for that joint select committee meeting where Danessa Mahabir raised the issue and asked, what really going on here? This is a man who's an economist who lectures at UE. He is looking at this and he's saying that this is not right. This cannot be right. How the hell the overdraft on the exchequer account so high? In all my years, I've never seen it this high before, and he's asking that question. Because while he was serving there in the Senate, while Mr. Manning and the UNC and the PNM was in power, he never saw no issue. But in 2016, 2017, he saw it, and he asked the question, how that happened? Because he knows as an economist the impact that would have on the government's revenues in terms of the government having to service this debt, not just principal, but having to pay interest as well. But between 2010 to 2015, we didn't know about that, you know. Mr. Jawala Rambaran never talked about that. The $11 million Minister of Finance never talked about that. And had they won office in 2015, we probably wouldn't hear about it either. Well, then again, maybe Mr. in the Joint Select Committee, Danessa might have still raised it. But that is to show you the things that they did to hide. When the 10 million US went missing from the NEC account, we didn't hear about that until 3 years later, because somebody put something in Keith Rowley mailbox, and he went to a public meeting and asked the question. And then they come out and say, well, yes, it really did happen. But, you know, we're dealing with it, and we get back some of the money, and we're trying to get back the rest of the money. That was a big issue. That is over 60, almost 70 million TT dollars was stolen from an entity, a state enterprise. 70 million TT dollars. You feel like it happened under the PNM and the UNC, would I leave that so? All kind of thing. The Heritage and Stabilization Fund lost some money last year through no fault of its own, because of what was happening on the international investment market, where sovereign wealth funds around the world lost money. But the illiterati in that party come to say they thief it out. The PNM thief it out. You see, PNM mismanagement. And this same clown, Munilal, who boasting about doctorate, and he's a doctor, coming to say when he wants to know if that money was spent on, that money that went missing, he wants to know what it was spent on, and all that. And you holding a doctorate, sir? You call yourself doctor and don't understand the basic fundamentals of investments and how it works? Up and down, depending on the type of investment that you put your money in, that in equities and so on, the prices fluctuate. The equities market is a volatile market. You're up today, you're down today. But the fundamental investment strategy with respect to that is buy low and sell high. But sometimes it's not always high, depending, because the people who drive the prices of these equities is the average citizen who invests in their money, depending on and relying on the expertise of the financial advisor or the wealth manager that they would have entrusted their money to. But when they get frightened and they see things happening, thinking they're going to lose their money, they come to run and pull out, and that affects the market. But these things up and down. So they made a big hullabaloo and a big fuss when the report came out about how much money the Heritage and Stabilization Fund lost last year. Lost. Paper losses. So long as you remain invested, when the funds recover, you make back your money. The fund has since made back the money. So all that $900 and something million US that they said the fund had lost, it has since made that money back because the markets have since recovered. That issue with Ukraine and Russia and the other issues that would have impacted on that have now sorted themselves out, and the market is now back up. So the fund has recovered. You know, none of them bastards will come and talk about that. They wouldn't go and dig up to find out, well, what is the current balance of the Heritage and Stabilization Fund to report on that. No. When it's negative, the same newspaper that was quick to report that, you think they would go back and ask now and ask central bank or send a FOI to the, they don't need to do that. They could just make an investigation, because I'm sure it's in the central bank website and whatever. You think they will go and ask them now, you could tell us what is the current balance of the fund? Since we reported on that earlier, and we know the hysterics and the hysteria that would have caused, you could tell us now, so that we could report to the country to let them know the fund has since recovered. It is now back to where it was before. You think they're interested? No. Of course not. Because why? We're not about making the PNM and the government look good. So we leave that there and give the UNC a talking point so they could talk about that from now until the cows come home. But wouldn't report to the country that the fund has recovered and has made additional monies and continues so to do. They ain't going to talk about that. Right? Bacchanalists. We don't have journalists in this country. So that is why they could put out the editorial and want to ask a whole set of questions, but Stuart Chung turning in the gun, but wouldn't go and get the information to provide to you, the population, so you could understand the procedure. So a whole set of conjecture. What is the procedure? Can an average citizen who owns a gun go and find out? It should be very easy to do that, but all you're not interested in finding that out. You know why? Because Keith Rowley and the PNM are giving all no house. Keith Rowley and the PNM not giving all $1,000 voucher when Christmas come around for reporting only good things about the government. All you ain't getting that. No preference for HDC house and all of them. All of the privileges that Kamala give all you, so that you all could suppress information and only come and write good things about the government. Keith Rowley not willing to do that. He allowing all the print whatever it is all you want to print. But the truth will come out eventually. So all you vex about that. You ain't eating no food under the PNM. No food under Rowley. But was eating our food, drinking our juice and belching under Kamala. So we want Kamala to come back so we could continue and resume where we left off. And continue to get perks. Yeah? We are the media and we accepting bribes. And I make no bones in saying that. Because somebody reporting that I see, to me, makes no sense. And a responsible journalist, because if all you could go and dig up, like Mark Bassant, to get private information, confidential information from venture credit union about all forthcoming business, right? You all could get copies of deposit slips and all of that, copies of demand statement. So all of that intimate details, if you could do that, well, then I don't see why the hell it is you can't go and find out from the TTPS. What is the procedure for somebody who is the holder of a firearm user's license, who no longer wishes to hold a firearm, or who decides that they have too many firearms and wants to turn it in? What is the procedure so to do? It shouldn't be very difficult to do that. If all you could get people private information, if you all could get information with respect to what persons would have filed with the Integrity Commission, the personal business about what property they have and where they have it and all of that. If you could get that, right? If you could get that, it shouldn't be hard to find out from the TTPS what is the procedure for somebody who wishes to cancel their FUL and turn in the firearm. So all on stupidness, on foolishness. The media all are not fooling nobody. You're all not fooling anybody. We see all a petticoat showing neon yellow. It's bright. It's blinding. So you know what the PNM had to fight up for themselves. Because in addition to having to fight the UNC, the NTA, the PEP, the PDP, the TPP, they had to fight at the OWTU. Now they had to fight up with the media too. And all the UNC social media bloggers, they had to fight with the media too. So it's all of them versus the PNM. And so far, the party has been able to hold its own. Thank goodness. It's been able to hold its own, and it has persons of integrity who continue to do what they can to ensure that whatever information we could put out there, we put it out. To battle all of these miscreants who have nothing good to say about the party, nothing good to say about the government, and couldn't care less about the welfare and the well-being of the country. So continue to put out all your nasty information out there, lies and misinformation, and spread it on social media. Spread it. Go and look for things in Guyana, right? Look for Guyanese who decide that they want to do a lie to cuss out Rowley and only share it at will. Go and pull up Market Venda from Barbados, right? When he do his live and he want to bad talk the government, go and find that and only share it too. Share it 100 and something thousand times and get 3 and 4 and 500,000 views, because in this country, negative things getting plenty views, but the positives, not getting views. I went on the website for the Ministry of Works and Transport. You know how much road paving taking place? Road paving like that. You know what projects they completed? But when you look how much shares, 10 shares, 15 shares, but let it be Couture and Bacchanal now about the government. You would see how much time it share, 500 and 600 times. 500 and 600 times. Like that clip I told you, all the TikTok clip with the young lady talking a pack of nonsense and get 130 something thousand views. But the good work that the ministry is doing, you ain't getting that kind of views. Nobody interested in sharing that. Nobody interested in sharing that, right? All them people who cussing, how many of them come on social media to say, hey, I got my check. I got my check for my income tax refund check. How many of them do that? You ain't gonna see that. But if the minister had said that he was going to do it and it didn't happen, oh gosh, you would have seen how much live. They just lie. And then but say, and it didn't reach yet. I still waiting for mine. What going on? 7701763. Don't mind all your business. And see, or they think it easy. It's not just Dr. Rowley alone had to put up with this nonsense. He's just one. He's just the main standard bearer for the licks, for the old talk, the couture and the bacchanal. But we on a daily basis now have to be going to dig up to get information to be debunking all the lies. So when we should be sharing the good news and sharing with you what are the positive things that the government doing, contrary to what is being put out there, we always have to be going and looking to do research to debunk the foolishness and the lies that is being put out there. But it's for a worthwhile cause. It's a labor of love for many of us, right? Who are not compensated for doing these things. Contrary to what the, the trolls and them is be saying, we singing for our supper and how much they're paying us and all of that. No, we are about good governance and ensuring that good governance is maintained in Trinidad and Tobago, like the government or not. Let me set this up here. Right. I'm seeing somebody says Watchman gave a mouthful on WhatsApp. I will play Watchman's clip, probably, or a piece of it on Tuesday. I noticed, interestingly, Gary Griffith doesn't respond to Watchman. Probably knows why. Probably knows why he's not going to respond to Watchman. And also to the same Gary Griffith who like to yap and always like to talk and have plenty to say. He don't want to, so all of a sudden now he understands confidentiality. So he don't want to say if it is that he would have granted the FUL for Stewart-Young with the same weapon, right? He don't want to say that. Yeah, no problem publishing and sharing WhatsApp messages between yourself and Fitzgerald Hines, right? When you were still commissioner and he as Minister of National Security, yeah, no problem. You know about confidentiality for that. But now you want to make sure that you provide a platform for the Kuchuru, for what Munilal doing. All of a sudden you know the meaning of confidentiality. So I don't want to say that, yes, I gave Mr. Young this firearm user's license. I don't want to say if I did and what weapon it was for. Because in order for Munilal to continue to prop up this lie, I need to keep quiet. Because I could easily come and clear this up and tell you that what Munilal talking is a pack of spit. But I'm not going to do that. Right? Because we didn't do as well as we hoped we would have done in the local government election, and we realized we have work to do. Jenny, afternoon.
Good morning.
Hi.
I think it's still morning.
Nah, it's 12:32.
Good evening.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning. Good morning to all those who are tuning in on Facebook and YouTube. You see, when they're investigating, I also want them to investigate with regards to the gun. Or convicted criminal, Watson Solomon Drew was able to be in possession or get a SUL license. We want to know if he has it, yeah? Because he's a convicted criminal. And as far as we know, you have to have a good record, police character record, and nothing outstanding. It can be involved in any criminal activity that you are alleged to be involved in, domestic violence, etc. Or you've been charged for rape, because that is a serious criminal charge, and assault. Sexual assault. So we want to know if he has one. The situation of Minister Stewart-Young, again, the grasping. So his troops, when a reporter asking that, okay, I ain't defending, I ain't picking up, but I'm saying, ministers, whether UNC ministers, whoever ministers are human beings. And if I have ventilated my situation about the gun that I would have cried back in, I did it legally. Before it's not like going around with and it tells you that the minister did nothing wrong. He didn't have to go in a specific police station and carry it. He can go any police station. What he did was perfectly legal. So if I've been ventilating that and talking that, and a reporter come in my face now, where we now come out and swinging that, I want to ask me, ask about the gun thing, and I shoot. God grief is a human being, I don't like that troops. In fact, I might have bust a pass, which that thank God right now, Minister. But the point I'm making, when Mulan stand up in the Parliament, the August House, where everybody watching on TV and call Minister Hines, why don't watch your state mouth and slate her left field? They didn't find that cross. When Kanapa Sabli said the first female prime minister in this country stand up and tell the American we is not no ATM machine to be given all they we give you have to get back. That wasn't crass. When she was meeting with the oil giant, when she's 90, that ain't crass. When we hear and talk about she drunk and falling and vomiting and drag out from here, that ain't crass and low down behavior. But as troops, just like Dr. Rowley would have spoken in just about the 30,000 votes that Uvatri talk about and say they come in Ghanis. All that we does have for Ghanis money, we don't mean nothing about it. Because right now, somebody was saying that one Ghanis is less 200 and something US. So what is the big deal with this? Send it abroad and Betty get involved in that at all. So now that talk gonna die down, they come in these troops. So we'll hear these troops whole week, oh, he this and that. He blasted right troops. Because they will come and talk proper thing. Why didn't ask about local government before? And what it means now that all the councillors and all men have been sworn in a quarter Spain. What does that mean for the people of quarter Spain? No, you're going to ventilate a subject again that has been ventilated already. So damn right as troops. Dominic, we have plenty work to do. The People's National Movement have to know that there are people out here they can utilize because they can be everywhere all the time. And there are certain platforms they may not be able to go on and speak as freely as we do. So they need to know they have to pass the information fast so that we can pass it on so the word will spread so people know what the government is doing and what the government has been doing and continue to do in this country.
In the absence of that, those neng-nengs and yen-yengs, I don't call them troll again, them yen-yengs and them, they will continue and to put all the misinformation on people that fall asleep. If they have a problem with Siotong as an envelope, Mr. Siotong, tell me who gave him the license. Tell me who signed for the license. Tell me which gun. And if it was all he's saying is an illegal gun, then tell me who signed the license for you to get this illegal gun. So don't hold Minister Siotong alone accountable in this scenario for saying that he has some illegal weapon. I leave it there. Thank you.
Thanks, you. Thanks, Jen. See here just now. Right.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Dominic. How are you?
I am good, sir.
Enjoying your program as usual.
Thank you.
Let me ask what Ms. Jenny say. You see that situation with Mr. Young? I think they're making a mountain out of our molehill. Mr. Young explained this. They had to find out who authorized Mr. Young to give the gun and find out who was the commissioner of police back then. That is all they had to find out. Right? And this thing with these troops, you remember when I don't know if he was young, but Mr. Basipani, when he was in the Harry Potter, Mr. Basipani was very angry and said, that's insulting. You remember that?
Yes.
That's insulting. Then Jack Warner told a reporter when he was investigating FIFA corruption, he said, I will spit on you after your mother.
Yes.
I wonder if any people remember that.
Not the UNC.
And then Mr. Manning, when Mr. Manning, when he refused to talk to journalists, he used to say, yeah, clipping him out. When he used to ask him all these questions, he was refusing to speak to journalists. So that's nothing new. Right? And then thing, you see this thing with this proportional representation where they put in aldermen in these areas. I think the government really need to review that thing because there was two reasons why the government back then decided to put that. One, it was a test run for the so-called runoff bill. Also, it was also used against the party yours in Dominic, the LP, because Mr. Warner was on track at this time. And I will give you an example. Do you remember when people were saying that the LP was slated to run the Shogunas Corporation? He was there, right?
Yes.
And all that fell down because Mr. Zaid Ali, who went up as an ILP candidate, he suddenly defected to the UNC. Do you remember that?
Yeah, Faik Mohammed,
It's Faik. Yes, Faik. Yes.
Current mayor.
And all hell broke loose. And I think from that thing, the ILP went downhill.
Yes.
Right? Because it is, even though Mr. Warner regretted that he should have focused his attention on Tunapuna, Sandigani, and Shogunas, he failed all candidates. And I think he won some in the seat. He won some seats in Tunapuna, he won some seats in Sandigani, and he won some seats in Shogunas, and I think ILP was slated to take over that borough. But you had that Faik Mohammed, he suddenly defected. So that was the reason why they decided to put that so-called proportional representation clause. And people who should know, and you know what really hurt me? A lot of people don't understand the proportional representation to the first party poll system. There's a reason why the proportional representation is a controversial voting system. It doesn't represent the full people. That type of system is for homogeneous societies like Sweden, those main European countries. But for a multi-ethnic society, it does give problems. And I will give an example. Take an example of what's going on in Israel right now and all the conflict that's going on. You have cases of Israel government collapsing and stuff like that, particularly coalition. Whenever there's a progressive party trying to deal peacefully with the Arabs in their area, you have these so-called the coalition partners, mostly made of Orthodox zealots, who take a very strong stance against the Arabs, the Palestinians. Yeah, Dominic? So that is all the problem I have. But as for Guyana, that is something totally different. That is chaotic. So people have to be very mindful about it, and I think the government needs to definitely review that proportional representation, make some changes, or scale it back to its original format. That is my opinion. Because that is a lot of confusion. Imagine that you hire a PNM NTA have a representative in the Dogomatin Regional Corporation. Oh, this is not a joking matter. Mr. Chan talk about it.
Yep.
And Mr. Rowley talk about it too. Voting has consequences. Dominic, have a good day.
You too, sir.
I noticed, but I think that the government should definitely review that proportional representation. It is not good for this country at all. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dom. How are you, my darling?
Hi, I am good.
All right, two things. When I want to push you, man, I said, ask your mother, what was that? Was it a crash? When they call PM a rapist, isn't that crash too? Typical, double standards. They always know crash when it's not them.
Yes.
But when they're very own, have no morals and no class, no ethics, it's nothing. It says much about them. They have no right to talk about anybody. Do you remember Dan Rat Singh?
Yes.
And the gun?
Correct.
There was a UNC candidate in Sapuna who shot at his wife. They buried her. Why? When they accuse people, don't make sure it was clean as a river. Because you are filthy, you pretend to be clean. You have double standards. One law for you.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all the debunkers and the viewers and listeners. Dominic,
Yes, sir.
God, on this place, like I know, like we in hell and back, because oh God, this place hot. For me, you see, I know. But you understand?
Yes, sir.
All this talk that these media reporters and them want to talk about this firearm with Minister Young, how you turn it and so forth, that the UNC want to use that as a political tool to try and drive that forward to the general election in 2025. Who gave Watson Solomon Duke a firearm when he went into AGC and pulled firearm for them in AGC? Why the media, Otto Carrington, Akash Tamaru, and Urvashi Tuwari Narain ain't going to investigate that? Or they want to come and want to chastise a minister who returned a firearm into the capable hands of the protective services in the country, or they want to chastise him for that, right? Gary Griffith should be the last person to be talking about that situation. It's alleged how many it have a businessman who got 10 firearms. What's he do with 10 firearms? So what, you use one every day?
Yes.
The same one with the bacchanal down in South with the man and the ex-woman or whatever. If he had a firearm, what would be the outcome? Should there be a dead woman today? I am Marsha talk about that at all down in South.
Yes.
She didn't talk about that at all. You understand? But you see, according to the last caller, they have too much of double standard. They're going to talk thing, they're going to talk the talk and not walk the walk. You understand? They want to chastise the minister. Oh, well, you know, the firearm and the thing and this and that and the other. How much of them in the opposition right now have firearms? From Gary Griffiths. Right? Watchman said it. Watchman would have said that under the former commissioner of police, right, a lot of firearms was issued, right? Without any proper legality. But he ain't coming to talk about that. And the minister did the right thing and bring it back. How much of the opposition right now coming to will come forward and bring back or return? Well, let me use
yeah, don't use that word.
So forward, because you know that some of them don't understand the word return, eh?
Yes.
So I'm going to say forward. Forward back the Firearm back to the relevant authorities for proper legality. No, they ain't doing that because why? They want to use that as a political tool to say yes, that Rowley government issuing Rowley government, ministers in Rowley government, Firearm that causing all the problem, and Rowley come talking about guns in the country and murders and this and that. It's the opposition. Munila should be last to talk because you have an investigation going on under your head from EMBD. When I last checked, why don't they investigate EMBD? Why don't they investigate Email Gates? The same that was on Coffee Man who want to come and talk about Rowley, Ines Gates, and this and that. Put an investigation to live sports. Where's Ruth Marchand today? Where is Ruth Marchand today? Ruth Marchand cannot come back in this country because if she come back here, she's a dead woman. They ain't talking about that. But they come and talk about this Minister Young, the party Firearm, and all that sort of hogwash. You understand? Hogwash. Anyway, Dominic, good program as usual, and we have to keep the fire blazing from them, because they ain't stopping, so we let's keep it blazing. Look at this there.
Thank you, sir. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good morning, Dominic.
Hi.
Good morning. Good program.
Thank you.
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome.
I can't understand these people and this issue with Munila. Stuart Young already explained his position already. I find they overdo it, and then these reporters we have here is a bunch of dunce, and they need to go back to school because they're making no sense. And Mr. Munilal and the others, what is they have a calling Stuart Young small pin?
Yes.
Are they inspectors of private parts? I find they're going too far, you know.
Yes.
They're going too far and they're very disrespectful. Thank you and good program and good morning, good afternoon to everyone.
Thank you. Well, the supporters like that kind of talk. So, let's see. Let me see. Just now. Brian. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I'm hardly hearing you.
I am hearing you now.
Oh, you're hearing me? Okay. Hi. Pleasant good afternoon. Good afternoon to all your listeners and callers and viewers. Dominic, if I heard correctly, when Dr. Munilal or Mr. Munilal indicated that it was, as far as he is concerned, is an illegal firearm.
Yes.
He was questioning the illegal firearm that Minister Stuart Young had.
Yes.
Well, Dominic, I mean, I think Minister Stuart Young is a very learned and educated and intelligent person. I have met the gentleman once, and from what I have seen and heard, he's extremely intelligent. If I have an illegal firearm as a minister, and I know that UNC only waited to pounce on anything that the PNM may do or may perceive to have done illegally. You think I could take up my illegal firearm and carry it to a police station and hand it in? And donate it? I say, here, the time I'm going here, I'm donating this. Really?
Yes.
So, Munilal wanted to believe that is what Stuart Young did.
Yes.
That he donated an illegal firearm that he owns to the police and running with that for how long is it? What, a week now? 2 weeks?
Yes.
and people gobbling up that,
Correct.
People gobbling up that like, hey, oh God, illegal firearm, boy, oh God, they get you minister.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on, people. Come on. And you see, with respect to Barbados, Barbados have their issues. And no amount of love by Duppy will ever change that. Because me and Mottley, their country is in the throes of the IMF. So all the love and all the fellowship, they want us to follow me and Mottley day before the IMF, like about 8 other countries of the Caribbean. We are not under Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. We are not. So they could follow me and Mottley. The people follow me and Mottley every time he comes to the parliament and talk about me and Mottley. He could follow there, that's okay. But Dominic, you know what my concern is? My concern is the amount of ammunition that I see every single day, Dominic. Every single day being the police are getting all over Trinidad, especially on the east-west corridor, by the caches, the amount of bulletproof vests, saying police, the boots, all of this up to Tobago, there's a big concern why the ATF is involved, You understand? And this gentleman who people went and say they vote for, although they didn't really vote for they really vote for the UNC. He has questions to answer. So all the questions being asked on to the PNM, why does nobody is going to ask Gary Griffith, hey, what is really going on? Did you really, according to Dr. Wade Hayes, aka Watchman, as some of your callers indicated, did you sign over 625 variations, approvals to normal people in this country? And why, and if so, why did you do so? In other words, they could turn your semi-automatic into a full automatic. Why would you do that? Is that legal? Why overshare them and asking those type of questions?
Yeah.
But you see, they thought that they'd win the local government election. They thought they'd win Stanford and no. You understand? And they thought that, hey, that would have been the flip to them to go forward and spread the propaganda. But now they have to check back themselves and realize that, hey, well, they really reached nowhere, I don't worry about Marsha Walker. Don't spend too much time on Marsha Walker. Marsha Walker went to lick up her vomit and go straight back in the loving arms of the second son of the UNC because she has nowhere else to go. She can't do like Tishera and go to Hope because they're hopeless. Maybe she don't realize that already. You understand? So she has to go back into the UNC. That is her home. That is where she will go because she has a hate for Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. But that is okay. We're watching them. And as Jenny said, we will not stop. We will not be deterred. We will not let them defray us from our objective. 2025 is at hand. And as you rightly said, we will not do like the others and spend 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days, as has been done even in Barbados. How do you know that? Anyway, we will not do that. We will stay the course, and we will do what we need to do to ensure that victory comes to the only party, true party, the only institution in this country and in the Caribbean for quite a while. Dominic, I want to thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Look forward to hearing you on, I think it was Tuesday. Because I know you're flying out just now.
Yes.
You know, and I hope you're looking on at what's going on in America just to divulge a little bit with respect to Jacksonville and so on.
Yes.
And that tomorrow is a very historic occasion with respect to the walk to Washington.
Right.
And the I Have a Dream speech. So, you know, you have to look at that as well and, you know, just for historical purposes.
Yes.
Take care, all the best.
Thank you, sir. Yes, another racially motivated mass shooting in the US where 3 persons of African descent have lost their lives. And the individual who is alleged to have committed the crime is, you know, he left information which stated that he hated persons of African descent. Let me see who we have here. Hello, good afternoon.
Dominic!
Oh, Lord Father. Yes, sir.
Dominic, what's going on?
All is well. All is well.
Dominic, we might be in the same flight, boy.
Well, you never know.
Where we will see.
Yes.
Hey, Dominic.
Uh-huh.
Remember when the tourism minister was housing minister? He never has troops too.
Yes, I recall.
That's a normal thing with them.
Yeah.
So what do they have to head for?
Exactly.
Hey, Dominic.
Uh-huh.
But I call for that. I just going to join that.
Uh-huh.
Dominic, did you see the documentary on Guyana?
No.
Where they said how companies that is going and opening business in Guyana have to hire a percentage of Guyanese?
Yes.
Did you see that, Dominic?
I didn't see that documentary, but I did read about it. It's a requirement under the local content law.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I will leave it there.
All right. Yes, that is a requirement under the local content law. I did read about that. Yes. Yes, I was making the point. So all who want to talk about crime in Trinidad and they can't stay here and they want to go to the US, let's remember, right, as soon as you walk out of the airport, you could find yourself a victim. You go in the grocery, you go to church, you go to the mall, you're just walking on the street, and the next thing you know, you're a statistic. Check this here. Hello, good afternoon. Hello.
Hello. Hey, good afternoon, brother.
Yes, sir. Greetings.
Yeah. Listen, it's time that we start a campaign of letters to editors at the Express and so on, to call out these political functionaries who are marking themselves as journalists and so on. Because a simple perusal of the Firearms Act by one of these people could let you know that surrendering of a licensed firearm is catered for in the Act and so on. And the process is spelled out there. And they could simply call a senior officer as a reference, so just to go over with them and check off what they would have found in the Act and so on. Because you know, from time to time, Acts may be amended and things might change.
Yes.
You know, and you could be brought or around with what currently has changed. That is all that requires, you know. You see, but like I say, these people being that tribe and gaslighting a tribe of people who is simpletons. I shouldn't even use the term simpleton. That is cretins. Because they take everything and go run and blow their horn and go over that. You see corruption, right? Because what is your FUL dominant and my fellow citizens? You have the facility to vary the terms upon which you got your firearm.
Right.
So you may rightfully have been issued or you apply to get a revolver. Then you say, you know what, remember your thing going? This 6-shooting thing and cutting it again, I want to upgrade to a pistol. You apply for a variation by the firearm section TPS, and they do that, and they make the necessary corrections on your booklet and that kind of thing.
Right.
You get the authorization to go to the designated firearms dealer to do such a variation, right? And you how you know, so you carry back your original firearm that you had and so on, and you can either organize a sale to another FUL holder, or you could do a disposal for, and that is then carried out by the police armorers and so on.
Right.
Good. That is no, you know, that is not no necromancy or no hard thing to find.
Yes.
But you see, when you're about creating a narrative and trying to remember, Mr. Young and the Prime Minister will always be in the sight of people because the Prime Minister describes them as his guardian troopers.
Yes.
Right? And if you check it, you remember from on the hustings with the recently concluded elections, they have a dossier of people they want to target going forward into the next year and a half, heading into General 2025, right?
Yes.
And that would be the Prime Minister, Mr. Hines, I know Mr. Gonzalez will be in that with Mr. Young and Mr. Alwali. And increasingly, you will find that the Minister of Education and Minister Cummings may fall under their radar and so on. And that's the whole thing about it. So the whole thing about it is to discredit these people in an effort to point that corruption against them and in some instances incompetence. You know, as I spoke about the mass shooting,
yes,
I am saying that it's time for our Ministry of Foreign Affairs under Dr. Brown to issue a travel advisory for our citizens traveling to these people.
Yes.
Especially around this time, because this is that time of the year when a lot of Trinidadians go to the US, particularly Florida.
Yes.
And then people traveling to these things, I think we got to get up on ourselves to say, hey, well, be careful out there, citizens, because you may be, because I mean, look at that. Who is thinking of all things that we'll end up being a casualty doing something mundane and routine?
Yes.
But it continues. So this would be about almost the 460th mass shooting for the year in the United States.
Correct. Yes.
But lower dramatic and standing wrong. And this is what people have to understand about such logic. Because Florida is an open carry, no need to have on your person a license key. Right? So once you land there, sirs and ladies, be aware of that. In spite of all that is happening here, we still have a relatively, you know what I mean? It's still relatively safe in terms of if you land.
Yes.
You might be subject to a mass shooting, but we can't say the same for jurisdictions abroad.
Yes.
You understand? My brother? And I want to say again, keep up the education and edification with your sound research, and I trust that you shall enjoy your time away. You come back to us in one piece, ready and recharged to continue leading the charge for what is right and moral and just. Take care, my brother.
Thank you. Rudal Munila would do well to remember that. Let me get a ticket. Mr. Chance, afternoon.
Hey, how you doing, my brother?
I am good.
Good to hear you, and well said, Mr. Superton. That is a man who I have great respect for on the radio platform. He is well researched, and he brings matters that we need to pay attention to, continue to do your work as well, Mr. Superton. But I just want to follow up on one point that you made, and the other point is that the UNC have recognized that a man that is playing a significant role in assisting in the leadership of the PNM is the Honorable Steve. In fact, we are not paying enough attention to understand that the deep reason why Dr. Rowley has Minister Stuart Young pursuing this matter with Venezuela with respect to the gas. And I want to share this morning, because I have to understand there's something called a vision. I have to understand the reason why. You know that Minister Stuart Young is pursuing this matter because if that matter gets any type of success, a modicum of success, it means that 2.3 million cubic feet of gas will now be available to our country. You know what that means? 2.3 trillion cubic feet of gas. What would that be for the ordinary man in Trinidad? The standard of living, the quality of life, the development of the infrastructure and the community and the people. That is how we put food on tables, Dominic.
Yep.
At the moment, still, we are doing diversification, we're doing other things. But in terms of gas, that is how we put the food on the table. And that is why I admire Dr. Rowley's leadership in that he's giving that Minister Church, Young Minister of Energy, that rule. Let me repeat, 3.2 trillion cubic feet of gas. When we sell gas, that money comes, let's go to Dr. Rowley or the government pocket, It distributed along the citizens of clearance. So I want to thank Dr. Rowley for his leadership, and I want to thank Minister Young for his pursuit. That those discussions are going on, and we've got to follow them and take a positive light on it. And secondly, let me just say that with respect to the UNC, every time I hear them, we have to debunk them, you know.
Yes.
And I agree with you in that regard, Dominic, because when the UNC have a habit of pointing a finger, but I want to invite all the listeners to point your finger and see what happens to your thumb. When you point your finger out, your thumb is pointing back at you. Pay attention. So they do that as a matter of pointing finger, but you must look at what their thumb is doing. I want to look at Dr. Munila's thumb, because he's pointing his finger at Minister Stuart Young. And as far as we know, Minister Stuart Young took an oath to obey the Constitution and the law. And what he did there was lawful. He obeyed the Constitution. That he took an oath to do that. And he did just that. That is why he's in this place to face children. Because that is part of what he had to do. And secondly, when you look at the fund of his country to Dr. Mudida, I want to remind you that in 2020, Justice James Abood sent a matter involving $300 million to the High Court, in which you, Dr. Munilal, are involved. And you know what he said in sending it to the High Court? And I want people to listen to this. He said, this matter focused heavily towards fraud and conspiracy. So let's talk to you. Dr. Munilal and other contractors involved. He said, as far as he's concerned, this is the reason why he sent it to the High Court. Because in his opinion, it points heavily towards fraud and conspiracy. $300 million. What money that is? Yeah, Dr. Rowley money. That's your money. That is our money. It costs us $5.5 billion a year for social welfare. Yes, the other day I pointed out $270 million the government put together to ensure that the school feeding program is expanded and continued. The largest amount in 10 years, $270 million. Yes, and that's why that money is important. Very important. Don't look at it lightly. And then the second part, in March of 2023, that this year itself, the Anti-Corruption Bureau of Trinidad and Tobago, the police, are probing a $400 million loan taken by EMBD. Who was in charge of EMBD? And Dr. Munilal, and you know when that loan was taken? That loan was taken in August 2015. Just days before the election, which was on the 7th of September. Just days before, they had the temerity, the brass face to take a loan. And that is what is being investigated. And they went further, you know. They're also investigating a photographer who was hired by EMBD to provide overtime work for Dr. Munilal. And they said part of the overtime work that he was paying for this photographer was not part of his duties. Dr. Munilal, you have all those things to answer. So what can it come that is pointing back at you? The index finger that is pointing at Minister Stuart Young is between the Constitution and the law. But yours, you are being charged and you are being brought before the court on matters that they believe are not within the law. And like people, we have to pay attention to those things. Thank you, Lord. Thank you very much, Dominic.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. I would remind persons as well, Stuart Young is an attorney at law. Right? That was his substantive profession before becoming a minister. So he still holds his law degree, and anytime he decides to part ways with politics, he can just go back to being an attorney. Not in addition to that, Stuart Young, at any given point in time during the course of the day, once he's on the road, has in his company about 4 police officers, some special branch. There's the lead vehicle, the vehicle that he travels in, and there is also an escort vehicle. And all of them are special branch officers. So if Mr. Young, so he's an attorney, one, so I'm sure he's familiar with the Firearms Act. And on top of that, if he needs to get information, he can ask the driver in the vehicle that he's in, and the person sitting next to him on the passenger seat or in the vehicle in front of them. All right, so I want to turn in my firearm. What's the process? What is the procedure? Okay? So all this old talk from Munilal, because they now realize they need to change their strategy going forward to 2025. They tested the waters in the local government election and realized, hey, you see all them topic we talk about there was of null and void and of no effect. It had no impact in terms of getting them any sort of headway, or contrary to what they say, inroads with respect to their prospects for 2025. So now they need to change strategy. So that didn't work. Load up the matic didn't work. Talking about home invasions didn't work. People eating grass and who ain't had jobs and all of that, and the bad roads, all those things didn't work. So what we had to do now, let's go after individual ministers. So we went after Foster Cummins. We will go after Stuart Young. We're going after Rowley with this property in Tobago. So like they assign Anil Roberts that. So that is his responsibility. They assign Munilal to go after Stuart Young, Jayanti. You will go after Foster Cummins. Who else all you want to go after? Which other ministers you all have on your radar? Who's next? That's all your strategy? Or continue? That's a good strategy. Stick with that. Stick with that. All the way up to 2025. And let's see how far it's going to get you. Right? So folks, it is 1:12. If I could probably take one more quick call before I jump off. So Don Clark says you have to stop calling that man doctor. He's so disrespectful. He don't, and others like him don't call Dr. Rowley doctor. Only his name, they don't give him his handle. Correct. And that was part of the strategy, I think, in 2015. Doppy, Rodney Charles, there was an email that came out where they said, do not call him Dr. Rowley. Just call him Rowley. And we must vilify him all the way to the polls. Get this one here. Hello, good afternoon. Hello?
Dominic?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Dominic. Yes, man. Join your program. Dominic, with respect to Ms. Marsha Walker talking about she quitting because of women issues. She didn't think about there's a certain MP on her side that is alleged of human trafficking.
Nah.
Where was Marsha Walker and all this?
Mm-hmm.
She didn't remember some few years ago there was a former minister who abused his ex-spouse at a plaza some years back in the government.
Mm-hmm.
She couldn't remember that.
Nah.
She didn't remember that there was a gentleman who looks like, who now hosting a show Coffee Lovers was in a place of infamy.
Mm-hmm.
Had to sell their bodies.
Yeah.
She didn't talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting times. Have a good day, Doc.
You too. Well, I guess she probably doesn't watch, she doesn't look at Douglas politics or Doubles and Coffee either, where every opportunity Anil Roberts gets is when he accused the former president of pum-pum politics, of giving out positions based on her being a lesbian. Apparently Marsha missed that. When it is, he makes the claims that the female members of cabinet, all female ministers, would have gotten their position by giving Dr. Rowley a piece. Apparently she missed that. She didn't care about female issues or women's issues in that situation. When it is that Anil Roberts referring to the Minister of Education as bundles and claiming that she is in a love triangle with Dr. Rowley and Foster Cummins. Apparently Marsha missed that too. But you see, that is the caliber of people that they want to offer you in 2025. And this man wants to contest St. Joseph. St. Joseph people, all you had to be mad to vote for that. All you had to be crazy, right? You all had to be desperate to play fast and loose with your vote to support Anil Roberts. I could tell you all, you see, Anil Roberts left a nasty stain on Dabadi O'Meara. One term, he didn't even serve the full term. In the 4 years that he was Member of Parliament for Dabadi O'Meara, today, Dabadi O'Meara is still reeling in certain parts of Dabadi O'Meara from that 4 years that he served as minister, as the MP. Yeah? Still suffering from that. Record number of murders in Dabadi O'Meara. When they were giving out box drain contracts and so on to feed gangsters and criminals. Yes, when he was feeding a certain religious sect in a certain part of Dabadi O'Meara. Yeah, all of that he was doing. When I was campaigning in 2013 local government election, and people were telling me of the experiences they had going to see this individual as in his capacity as MP. And when you reach at a certain time, if it is you want to leave early, and when you reach by the door and they're telling you, nah, we close for today. I tell them, but it's not 4 o'clock yet. And security pulling the coat or lifting up the shirt to show your gun and like, we say we close. Go your way. The minister not seeing nobody else for the day. All these are things that people were telling me of what they had to endure under him. And now Kamala saying, she okay with that. As far as she's concerned, he cleared himself with respect to life sport and now wants to foist him on St. Joseph in 2025. That's the level of respect that she have for you. All this dirty, stinking, look, let me keep it clean, right? This low life. I notice he's up since the election to curtail they get in the election. Yeah, because he was one of them who was telling the PNM was supposed to be beaten badly. He only do about 2 or 3 lives since then. Yeah, so he laying low. You know, to say you want that to pass then because you know. But I encourage you all. I'm not telling you all to go and assault, not to not to go to their level. But if you could stomach it, you don't have to listen to the video. You know, anytime, because every time he puts out a post or he does a live, he has a tag or a title for it. Just go in the comments and remind him. Whatever it is he talk about, just let him know he doesn't have the moral authority to speak on any of those things. Pull up a newspaper article about live sport or something and just drop it in the comments for him. And especially when you do it early, I imagine he would read the early comments before there's a barrage of comments and he can't read it. But that's what I do. I just wait and then drop it in right there for him. Sometimes he responds, sometimes he doesn't. But I know that the people who come after me, they will read the comments. Some of them come to attack, but I'm ready for them. Anything that they come with, I respond them to. That's what you need to do for them. Or you can just go and just drop in, great is the PNM. If you see that he put out a post and he get 500 comments and 498 is great is the PNM. You know what that does to them psychologically? That's all they had to do. And this next one in Shan Ishmael. Well, I see he and Philip battling now. But there was something, and I see I'm closing now, but I just had to touch on this quickly. Let me just get this here. Because I find he's another one, somebody need to put him in his place. He was one of those who had an issue with the pan and powder. Right, so I saw just now, he put out a post 3 hours ago. Dear PNM people who voted in the last election, name 3 things that the PNM did to benefit the national community. We could give you more than 3, Mr. Ishmael. More than 3, all right? But just now, what I wanted to read here quickly. Where is it? Right, this was his comment under the pan and powder. I watched this, and he posted a video of it, right? A video posted by Maria Nooms, and here's his comment. I watched this, and as much as I am a pan lover, really, my stomach hurts. Over 4,000 murdered in 8 years, and we can only find time to fed. How can members of the African community continue to fed, party, and support the same administration responsible for the slaughter of so many of their own? How? That's in Chan Ishmael, right? The government responsible for that. Government responsible for that. But this is the same man who, every opportunity that he gets, is more than happy to talk about how he helped African people. That during COVID, when African people were suffering and struggling, nobody else was suffering and struggling. Nobody else was losing their job. Nobody else suffered a reduction in salary as a result of the shutdown of the economy. No, it was only African people. I love to talk about how much Africans he helped. And that's why I keep saying, when it is you see he have his things, leave him. Leave him. You might be struggling, but let him keep it. Because when it is that you had to give people things and then you had a reproach and talk about it afterwards, to big up yourself and big up your chest and talk about how much African you help no other ethnicity but African people, to try and say, well, the African communities, them alone suffering, them alone struggling. I didn't take nothing from me. As I told you, I had my run-in with this man when, in 2013, when he was the regional coordinator for the ILP, for the local election. And I had my run-in with him, and after that, I see him for what he is. I say, you see me? Not me again. Not me again. So, yeah, let me just take this last one here. Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, Dominic. Now I'm here talking about this bamboo specialist.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I have an issue with that individual, right? It's not no. This individual, the bamboo specialist, right, want to come and denigrate the Afro-Cambodians in this country every single time he do a live, as if it's only the Afro-Cambodians are suffering in the country, right? That is why I personally am calling on other persons like myself and who look like me, right, to desist or even partake in anything this man has to offer. Because he's a nasty, disingenuous, reproachable ingrate. This man called Inshan Ishmael. He's a nasty racist. You understand? Because you vex. What's going on? When Sushila was there in 2010, 2015, right? We ain't here at all, right? You jump ship, you support your corner, you jump ship, you come PNM, you jump ship again, you come back in UNC. That is not UNC. The one who you were supporting.
You supporting Gary now.
The Blue Soap man.
Yes.
Right? You jumping ship. That is what you call political hustling. You're political prostitute. And you're going to prostitute yourself in order to get whatever you want from whatever party that you deem fit that you can get it from. You understand? I wanted to answer the question what Philip Alexander put out to him regarding the lands, dog and barraca grounds, we have the businesses. That's what I want to find out. You understand? Other than that, you can't talk to nobody in this country. So pat in your lane, stay in your crease, and leave African Trinbagonians, let it do what they have to do. You understand? Because we don't need you to support for any support. You understand? Because also is reproachable people, because you do something for somebody and they're quick to reproach them and say, look how I help people. According to Mano, the words Mano say, give somebody something and say nothing about it.
Yes.
And that's what them need to do. You understand? Dominic, good program I locked on, and be safe, brother.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon, folks. It was always a pleasure. We will chat again on Tuesday morning, God's willing. So stay safe, enjoy the rest of your weekend. He spoke, so Daniela says he did pork, so he had no Muslim again. People have said, Augustine Malkarak says, don't wait for night to light candle to see what the UNC will be offering you to vote for. Stay clear of Anel. Looking at this face right now, he's scary. Yes. When they arrested 9,000 plus Afro-Trinidadian, we didn't hear anything from him. So true, Kate Richards. So, folks, we will chat again on Tuesday morning, God's willing. Always a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, whoever is if you call and your macaroni pie or your lasagna, whatever it is you're going to eat. Enjoy it. And enjoy it for me too. And then Tuesday, well, remember Tuesday night, I will be on Real Issues. It's Wendell Eversley and myself again. And then on Wednesday, I will be interviewing Tahaka Obika. We'll see if maybe he might shed some light on his time in the UNC and perhaps give us a little more details as to what motivated his decision to leave that camp. But we'll be discussing that and economic issues as well, because he is an economist by profession. So thank you so much. And yeah, so Tuesday it is.